All right, peace, y'all. How y'all feeling? How y'all feeling? Let's get into this topic. 1 second. Put that comment right there. All right. Hope you're having a good day. It is Monday. Always start the Monday off with a plan. Best way to plan that I have found is with a list. A list or a task, a few tasks that you want to accomplish for me for the day, for you that may be for the day or that may be for the week. Then we start to cross out those things as we accomplish them. Why is that effective? Because it assures that things are getting done, and it feels good when you see that I have created a list and check things off the list. It just feels good. You'll feel good about yourself. That means that things are happening and you are sticking to your word. Hold yourself accountable for your results. You are the only one that is responsible for your results. So put a list together, start checking these things off. And that could be anything, whether that's, going to the mall or washing clothes, investing with the Hager Boys, whatever it is. Have a list, start checking it off. Let's dive straight into this topic. How to create passive income seller financing land. First of all, is that even possible, Ray? How do I do that? Very possible to create passive income. When I say passive income, every 30 days, you could position yourself to get paid off of a piece of land. Every 30 days, you can get money without even leaving your home, without owning a home site. And I'm going to talk about how we position that and how do we do that and structure it to where it's on autopilot and is free. Or you're receiving the money at that point when you're in the green. All right. Hope that makes sense. So first and foremost, that's called seller financing. That is how you're going to do that. That is how you're going to pull that off. Many of you may see on the market now where you'll see things like on listings that say, own this land for only $1 or own this land for only $100. It's not what they're saying. That is a plot that we use to attract potential clients or buyers. So that's like the hook. It gets you to stop on the listing. And then once you get to the listing, you'll see that that's not the price of it. That is the price that they will allow you to sell a finance or the down payment for the land. That is how they get you there when you see things like that, right? They'll say, give me $1 and then I'll put you in a seller finance contract. And then we'll talk about what the monthly fee is, right? I'm going to break the whole thing down for you. Why is this effective? It's effective because more people, just like after payments or buy now, buy laters, that's BNBL, whatever you call it, that industry, Afterpays, Klarna, Affirm, and things like that. That's highly effective when you're selling a product. People rather pay later. Buy now, pay later. This is the same thing with the seller finance. So it helps land sellers when we're selling. It helps us have a bigger pool of people that may be interested if we offer seller finance. Now, if you were a land flipper and you're looking to generate income, you have to get in front of that and position your buy so it'll be structured to where you can ask for seller finance, meaning that the higher price point that you pay for the land, it's going to be difficult to run a seller finance and be in the green immediately. Like if you paid $40,000 for a piece of land, and if you were a land flipper and you was looking to make money off it, you can't ask for a down payment of $40,000. Most people won't have $40,000 to put down for a down payment. So where I'm going with this is it works really well when we can keep the denominations low or you don't need the money. See, big boys are people that's well off in the land space. They play the seller finance game because they don't necessarily need the money up front. they have the money, or one way that the big boys do it, and we'll explore both ways. We'll explore if you're well off, if you have a big bank account, or if you don't have a big bank account. So if you had a big bank account, right? If you had a big bank account, Gustavia Miller says we have 111 acres. See, this is why y'all, this says 1,000 acres. This is why y'all have to like be tapped in. He says we have 1,000 acres in Oregon, but we're looking for black farmers to do something with 7 acres. Oh, come into the community, brother. It's comment the word acres, come into the community. We'll love to highlight that in the room so people can hear more about it, and then potentially, inquire with you or contact you to see what they can do with the 7 acres that you have in there. It's only $4.99. Comment the word acres. A link will be sent to you. Come into the room. I want to highlight minority owners that own 1,000 acres, because that's not something that we hear on a daily basis. I'm not sure if that's a typo, 111 or 1,111 acres. Either or. If you own either, I like to highlight individuals that own that kind of acreage so we can hear about it and we can see it, that this is doable, right? So come into the community and let's talk about it. Now, what the big boys do is, if they have money, one way to do it is they take a line of credit out, and then they'll target decent land, good land, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, depending on the amount that they got from the line of credit. When you take a line of credit out, you're going to pay back whatever that percentage is on it. Let's say you took a line of credit out for 50,000. I'm talking about for those that may be a little more advanced, right? They took a line of credit out for 50 grand, and I don't know what they'll be paying on it. Let's just say they're paying $700 a month on the 50,000, right? So they'll go out and buy land with the $50,000 line of credit. Let's say they bought land for $25,000. Let's say they bought 5 acres for $25,000 and they wanted to sell or finance it. They paid $25,000. They'll ask for a down payment. Down payment may be $5,000. So they got $5,000 back off of the land that they paid $25,000 for. Then they'll sell or finance it and say, hey, give me $500 a month until it's paid off. Now they're getting $500 a month. Well, more than likely, they'll ask for the cost of what is a little more than what it costs to pay back the line of credit. That's how they usually structure it. So they wouldn't ask for $500. They'll probably say, if they're paying $700, they probably want to double up their money. They'll say, can you pay $1,400 a month to get the land? Now they're getting their money back, paying the line off, plus they receiving some profit. Now, when they're really well-to-do and they don't need the money, they'll just put you on a seller finance contract that you could afford, and it'll be long-term, because that'll be a store or place that they store their income, because they know they won't lose on it, right? But I don't want to focus on what the big boys do, because I'm assuming if you were a big boy, you probably know about how to pull these things off and how to do these things. I like to focus on new people who don't have an idea on how to do that. So if you're brand spanking new, or the budget is not that big and you're interested in being in this space, how do we quickly generate a quick $1,500 a month selling land? That's the question, right? First, you're going to have to figure out where you can buy land for cheap, really cheap, right? And there's plenty places that you could, but the caveat to that is you have to be able to identify if those areas that's really cheap, is there movement in the areas, right? And I've said this a lot of times. Don't buy in bad areas or cheap areas if there's no movement, because there's no movement. It needs to be movement. What is movement? Things need to be going on and off the market, for sale and sold in that area. Bad areas, there's plenty of them. Plenty of them that this happens in. Memphis, Tennessee is one area. You can just go on Zillow. If you know what you're doing, just look across the map and identify what areas are yielding the price point that you're looking for. Data. This is all we do. We just go by the data. Not what I feel, not what I think. I just go by the data. Because is it a bad area if things are selling? Forget what you feel. You're not going to live there. You're looking to turn a profit. So is it a bad area? So you got to be careful what they tell you. because I made a lot of money in what they said was a bad area. Why? Because things was moving in what they called a bad area. Right? So we have to identify an area with a price point that you could afford, right? It works well when you can keep it low. It works well when you can position yourself to buy the land for $1,000 and under, $1,500 and under. It works really well at that price point. Why does it work well at that price point, right? Because if I could pick up a piece of land for $1,500 and I know that it's going back on the market anywhere from $3,000 to $35,000 or $4,000 or somewhere around there, my down payment, here's how it works. The down payment, once I'm selling it, once I own it, once I'm selling it, putting it back on the market, what's the down payment? The down payment is going to be what I paid for the land. So if I paid $1,500 for the land, then I sell or finance it, my listing is going to say down payment is $1,500. Now I'm back in the green. Then it'll say the monthly payment that I'm looking for, always keep it low around these denominations. Don't go above $350 because your audience, trust me when I tell you, your audience won't be able to afford more than $350. So the sweet spot is anywhere between $150 and $250. So you got your money back. Now you're in the green. Someone paying you $150 a month or $250 a month. Let's say $250 they're paying. Very doable. Average people, they have that kind of money to sell or finance. So now you can see how this is scalable. Now all you need to get to $2,400 or whatever the price point is you need to quickly accumulate. Just do the math and have that many deals going on. How do I know this play? Because I give this play out because I did it, I lived it. And we had like 30 of these going on at one time where someone was paying us $175 to $250. Do the math. 30 properties times 250, that's a decent, it's something coming in on a monthly basis for something that we don't go out. I'm not, I don't have to worry about tenants. I don't have to worry about lock boxes. I don't have to worry about if something breaks, what's going to break on the land, the trees. We sit here and we just identify these areas. We identify these price points. We invest in them and we do paperwork. Make sense? So if you needed to accumulate, now what does a homeowner need to accumulate, or what does he need to do to create $2,000 a month? That's a whole house that he has to own with tenants in it to get $2,000 a month. A lot of risk involved in that. So why not have less than $5,000, run this play, rinse and repeat it. Less risk here. And you're going to position yourself to make the same amount of money. And then the caveat to is when you sell or finance land, you play the bank, right? You're telling them where to send the money to. You're putting them in the terms and conditions of whatever your contract states. If they default or stop paying on the contract, we never send the deed until it's fully paid off. If they default, you just pull the property back. You give them a grace window of 15 to 30 days to make the payment with a late penalty. You keep it low. Don't try to kill people. Late penalty, $50 or something like that. And if they never adhere to the notice, you take the property back. The contract is null and void. Then you do what? You put it back on the market and do it all over again and take another down payment. That makes sense? You're following? Drop it in the comments. Is this making sense? I know I'm speaking it rather fast, so I don't want to lose you. But it is very, very, very doable. And these are some of the things that we teach that entry level. That's why we call it entry level investing. I could talk about bigger deals. I could talk about larger acreage that we have done and all of that. But I choose to deal with people in the beginning stages, because I'm assuming that if you were past the beginning stages, that you are probably doing something. All right, let's talk about more money. Y'all want to make more money. Ray, that's slow money. I don't want to do all of that. I want to make more money. All right, if you want to make more money, then you're going to have more money to invest. If you want to make more money coming out the gate, I think, and I'm going to change that. In fact, I know that because how we frame this, that sometimes people get confused that this is real estate, and real estate takes money to make money. And the land business, when we start talking about, hey, hey, Ray, I need to make $10,000 a month. Well, do you think that play that we just ran, you could build up to $10,000 a month, but that's going to come over time. Like if you want to come out the gate and position yourself within your first 6 months, your first year to make $10,000 a month, it's going to take some upfront money to go after those deals. So you have to say, I always say, start where you are. In fact, I say start where your budget allows you to start. So a good $3,000 to $5,000 is a great starting point if you want to go after larger acreage. See, we think that the larger the acreage, the more attractive it is. That's not necessarily true. The larger the acreage, as for a land flipper, the larger the acreage for a land flipper means the savvier the seller. Just think. See, it's always reversed. Most people looking at it from a different lens than what we look at it from. Most people looking at first the money. I don't look at first the money. I look at first what's wrong and why. Even when I'm looking at properties from an auction or properties that I'm buying from somebody, because we all can deal with good. I need to know what's wrong. What's wrong? What's the bad? I'm quickly trying to identify that. That is all that I'm doing these days as a land investor. What is wrong with what you're offering me? If it's all good, I have no problem. I'll buy. And most people make that mistake because they get so excited because they think they see something from a dollar standpoint that may or may not be there. And this is why we're constantly pushing education, because with the education, if you could identify everything or know what to look for before you make a decision, then typically it works out well. It typically goes good. But if you don't know what you're looking at and what to check off, you may stand a chance that it may not work as well. Then you left a bad taste in your mouth and, Acre Boys, what the hell they've been talking about? So making a lot of money in it, sure, we all know you can make a lot of money with it. Just the cold hard truth. It's been proven and tested throughout the years. How do you get that? How do you get the 40 acres that I hear everybody say that they want? Well, we can position you to put you in front of 40-acre owners. But the question turns into, how do you deal with a 40-acre owner? Do you think somebody that owns 40 acre doesn't know anything about what they have and about the space and the price points and of what's the going area? So how do you get it at a discounted price? So seller financing is a great way for new investors to generate a monthly passive income. Seller financing and keeping it low, right? I'm sure you can use an extra $1,500, extra $2,000 a month. It works. Inside of my community, I know it works because we give you the steps, step by step. If you can learn, you can earn. We give you the templates. We give you everything for you to be successful. Comment the word acres. That's not my paid community. I have to clarify this. This acres community that we're pushing is not the land investing community. This acres community is a community where we are talking about land 24/7, and we created a space where individuals can come first, get a taste of the Acre Boys there. I just went live in that community. If you was in the community, then you would have been on that live, and we can have a different conversation inside of that community. It's less than the price of a cup of coffee, We all could afford it, and we're trying to have the biggest land community because at some point, once there's enough people, I like to say investors. You see how I saw in the future and called you an investor if you're not in. When we have enough investors, then we can start talking about what does crowdfunding look like and how do we bring you into structured deals and things like that. We're not quite there yet. The room is still new. So we need your participation and your involvement. All right. So Common Acres, come spend some time with us inside of there. And then I can almost guarantee that it's worth what the price point is. I mean, it's $4.99. I can promise you it's more. I was studying what other people was offering in their private rooms, and trust me, what we're offering for that price point, it's, I don't know. I'm probably giving too much. He says, how can I see the pictures of the property? And it's only 11 acres. My bad. Sorry. We are the only Black farmers in over 100 years that lived out there. Plus, we are on the Greenbelt. I don't know much about that area, but you can email it to acreboys@gmail.com. And what I'll do is, with your consent, is I'll place it in my community. And, if anybody's interested, you can give me your contact information. I'll have those people get in touch with you. That's the other thing in the importance of community, because we can do things like that. You can't see the comment, but the comment says he has 11 acres and he wants to talk about breaking off 7 of those acres for someone Black that they can farm on. Off-market deals. The deal is not on the market, correct? It's not listed on the market or anything like that. And he'll respond. All right, so I did my I hit my mark today. When I say my mark, I started off this live saying that curate yourself a list and start Xing it off. One thing that was on my list was to do 2 lives today. I have done 2 lives today. And we move on to tomorrow. We cross that off the list. This is how we continuously move the needle. This is how we hold ourselves accountable, by creating that list and doing what you said you was going to do. All right. So email me at acreboys@gmail.com with the 11 acres. We'll take a look at it and leave your information once you email it. Everyone else, comment the word acres. Come on inside of the community and let's build. All right. Peace. Love.